Provide me their names, sir.
Geneva and Kent.
And your name also.
Brandon Combs.
Thank you.
Good evening. These three ordinances before you tonight are intrinsically flawed and must not be adopted by the city. My comments this evening focus on the constitutional conflicts inherent to the proposed ordinances and why adoption presents a serious financial risk to the city. When laws that infringe, chill, or abrogate the civil rights of people are challenged in federal court, judges undertake a process of determining the level of scrutiny that should be applied through judicial review. As you're certainly aware, the Supreme Court's landmark 2008 decision in District of Columbia v. Heller not only guaranteed the people's right to keep and bear arms as a fundamental individual right, but also made the important distinction that rational basis scrutiny is insufficient and should not be utilized. Even assuming a court would find it acceptable to impose time, place, or manner restrictions on the sale of firearms and ammunition, these ordinances clearly fail the O'Brien test. As restated in the majority opinion in Clark v. Community for Creative Nonviolence, as delivered by Justice White, quote, expression, whether oral or written or symbolized by conduct, is subject to reasonable time, place, or manner restrictions. We have often noted that restrictions of this kind are valid, provided that they are justified without reference to the content of the regulated speech, and that they are narrowly tailored to serve a significant governmental interest, and that they leave open ample alternative channels for communication of the information. In no way can these onerous and restrictive ordinances be read as meeting the narrow content neutral time, place, and manner restrictions as required by O'Brien and affirmed in Clark. In Justice Brennan's dissent of the Supreme Court's 1986 decision in Renton v. Playtime Theaters, Inc., quote, the court finds that the ordinance was designed to further Renton's substantial interest in preserving the quality of urban life. As explained above, the record here is simply insufficient to support this assertion. These are not facts sufficient to justify the burdens the ordinance imposed upon constitutionally protected expression. In the case of these proposed ordinances, neither the City of Oakland nor the ordinance's other supporters have offered facts sufficient to justify the ordinances imposed on constitutional expression. Undoubtedly, these proposed ordinances do not meet the Supreme Court's very unambiguous heightened standards of review, nor do any of these anecdotal facts offered by the city fulfill the requirements of the federal rules of evidence and the Daubert standard. To guide lower courts as to the nature of admissible scientific evidence, the Supreme Court made it clear that, quote, in order to qualify as scientific knowledge, an inference or assertion must be derived by the scientific method. Proposed testimony must be supported by appropriate validation, i.e. good grounds, based upon what is known. In short, the requirement that an expert's testimony pertain to scientific knowledge establishes a standard of evidentiary reliability. Clearly, these do not. The supporters of these ordinances have provided no such data, and I strongly urge you to summarily reject them tonight.
Thank you, sir.
I want it to be obvious what's going on here tonight.
Can you please state your name?
My name is Mike Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
I want it to be obvious the shell game that's being pulled here tonight. It's been explained to you you're violating your own rules by listing these items as consent items while they obviously have intense community interest. This process is corrupt. It needs to be started over. Secondly, the people in this room that have spoken are probably going to be surprised and angry to know that you've already passed these ordinances. What you're doing now is amending them. For example, you're adding the phrase, should have known, to the mandatory reporting requirement. Are you blind? Are you ignorant? Don't you understand that once I purchase a firearm and take it into my house, I can do what I want with it, short of committing violence or something that's obviously against the law in other ways? I can load that firearm, I can carry it concealed, I can do all kinds of things that I can't do when I walk outside my house. But yet I can put it in a drawer and leave it there for a year or 10 years, and I'm not breaking any laws without checking on it, without looking at it.
Mr. Haas?
And yet you're going to tell me that I should have known a gun might have been stolen from my house?
Your time is up.
Well, you people should not be governing.
My name is Zed Rickle, and Mr. Michael Oria has agreed to cede his time to me.
And is he present
Yep.
in chambers? Thank you so much, sir.
I'd like to compare Oakland with a city that is very similar, which is Fresno. They have similar populations. They both have about 450,000 people. They both have problems with crime. They both have problems with drugs. They both have large gang populations. They also have very diverse populations, ethnically and economically. They also both have a ton of guns on the street, and this is where they differ. In Fresno, the guns are carried by law-abiding citizens like us legally. In Oakland, they're carried by felons. You become a felon by the very nature of carrying the gun, whether you're a law-abiding citizen or not. The difference is they have a sheriff, her name is Margaret Mims, that issues concealed carry permits to anyone that can pass a background check and wants a permit. Okay? The problem is not lack of gun control. The problem is that the violent felons vastly outnumber the law-abiding citizens that are willing to stand up to them. And to put it in a way that you might actually understand, the problem is that the De La Fuente Juniors vastly outnumber the Patrick McCulloughs. Thank you.
My name is Mike Miller. Thank you for letting me speak. I want to remind you that criminals, by their very nature, ignore the law. That's what makes them criminals. There are already tens of thousands of pages concerning gun control, their use, restrictions to their use, state law, federal law, local law. You guys can add a few more pages by passing this ordinance. It's not going to make the average criminal change his behavior. He's still going to be a criminal. All you're going to do is tie the hands a little bit more of law-abiding citizens who want to protect themselves. That's all you're going to do with this. It'll be challenged in court. It'll cost you a ton of money. It will not pass. Mr. Mixon, he was a convicted felon. He was a prohibited person. He shouldn't have had a gun. By his very nature, he was a criminal. He didn't care. Your budget issues, well, I can't continue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Fareed D. And Ms. Kaplan, President, I think she's sleeping now. Hello?
Can you direct your questions towards me?
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
No, that's fine. Look, I've noticed this throughout the evening. This is one topic where people are least concerned. And, it's the most important as far as public safety goes. She's sleeping, right? And every other member was probably outside and everybody else. The only people who are paying attention are probably two members here, right? Thank you so much. Now, look, folks, you're trying to ban guns. That's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to regulate ammunition when nobody even sells ammunition. Look, when somebody kicks in a door, police people are about, 7-8 minutes away? I need my gun, I'm going to keep it, okay? So I don't think you're in touch with the population out there now. Slowly you're getting disconnected, all right? And no, it's not going to make a difference, ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gregory McConnell. I'm not sure you called my name in support of this item and urging you to pass it right away. Did I put in a card for this?
Actually, Mr. McConnell, I don't believe I have
I'm
a card
mistaken.
for
I
you.
apologize.
I appreciate you being forthright about
Thank
it.
you. Is that the last speaker?
I called all of the speakers' names.
All right. That's fine. Ms. Kwan, do
And
you
if,
want to
are
speak?
you